And next minute he says, "Hello, John, I'm doing Across the Universe. Do you want to come on down?"
Let's dive into a story of unlikely friendship between David Bowie and John Lennon. Bowie is one of the most influential artists of all time that admired John Lennon, another legendary musician that made history with the Beatles and in his solo career. The musicians met in the mid-1970s, years after the final ripples of Beatlemania had died down. But back when the Fab Four were still in vogue, Bowie always related to Lennon the most. Once they finally met, he realized just how much he could relate to and learn from the late musician. Like so many other music lovers around the world, Bowie found the Beatles to be tremendously influential. And again, just like everyone else, he had a favorite, John Lennon. David Bowie didn't just find a good pal to cut up with when he met John Lennon. He met a musician who served as equal parts collaborator and mentor. Bowie had almost the entire Beatles catalog and career to analyze while he was on the come-up himself. Even after the Fab Four broke up, Lennon was a wellspring of useful wisdom for Bowie. During a 1983 interview, Bowie revealed the morsel of songwriting advice Lennon gifted him.
I never forget something that John Lennon told me. We were talking about writing, and I would always admire the way he used to cut through so much of the bullshit, just come straight to the point with what he wanted to say. And he said it's very easy. All you have to do is say what you mean, make it rhyme, put a backbeat to it.
Right.
And I keep coming back to that principle.
Did fame sort of come out like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so easy. John had an incredible charisma that made you cut through things.
Right.
I can see the effect that he must have had on McCartney. I would imagine McCartney sorely misses that now.
In an interview back in 1995 with MTV, Bowie recalled how he met John and gave his opinion on the musician and the Beatles. He said, "It's really hard to remember when I actually met John. It must have been somewhere in middle 1974, I guess. We kind of started knocking around with each other. And he had his I thought at the time gave, which I thought one of the better Lennon quotes I've said a number of times. But when I asked him what he thought about what I was doing, glam rock, he said, 'Yes, great sir. But it's just rock and roll with lipstick on.'" Bowie recalled, "And I was impressed as I was virtually everything he said. He was probably one of the brightest, quickest, witted, earnestly socialist men I've ever met in my life. Socialist in true definition, not in a fabricated political sense, but a real humanist and a really spiteful sense of humor, which of course being English I adored. I just thought we'd be buddies forever and get on better and better and all that. So I know the Beatle that I always liked, everybody had their favorite Beatle." He added, "I never really realized that. Well, I always knew that, but I wouldn't have declared it in the early 70s because that would have been the most uncool to actually say that you actually like the Beatles in any way, shape, or form. But they've made such a great impact. They gave the British the illusion that they meant something again. We love hearing that, oh boy."